Da, 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 da.
It's time for In the Spotlight, where every story is a star and every resident is a VIP. Get ready to be inspired, entertained, and connected as we illuminate the incredible spirit of Joliet and our Southside communities together. To nominate a Spotlight shout-out, a Southside business, or local organization you want to see highlighted, visit us at wjol.com and click On Air. In the Spotlight, the show that turns the spotlight on the incredible people and stories that make our communities shine. This is In the Spotlight.
Hello and welcome to In the Spotlight. I am your host, Nancy Burke, and we have an author with us today, amazing lady, Dawn Staszak. She's an author of 5 books and is a proud mother of 2 teenage children. She teaches in her youth ministry at her church and works in conference and events. Her books are all nonfiction, so they're autobiographical and self-help, personal development, and spiritual in genre. She has been interested in all things metaphysical most of her life, but began studying and researching New Thought wisdom since the early 1990s. She is currently living in the Chicagoland suburbs with her kids and her cat, Sammy. Welcome to the show, Dawn.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Wonderful to have you. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Your books, you have 5 of them. And are you known as the guru? Because I see they're named Guru, in the jungle, Guru in the nursery. So tell us a little bit about the Guru series.
Well, the Guru series refers to each of us being our own guru, because there are plenty of gurus out there that I watch myself that help me with the different situations I may encounter as well. But ultimately, you can go to that conference, you can watch the video, you could do the book study, you could do the classes. But all in all, you have that connection with God to be your own guru and follow your own advice with the connection you have with Spirit, with God.
And your books they hone in on many different, I guess, eras of your life.
Yep.
So beginning with the first book.
That's A Guru in the Office.
Okay.
And I wrote that when I was pregnant with my first child. So before I became a mom, so I had my children later in life, 37 and 35. And I was working in the office full time, and I was just into, like you said, metaphysics and the self-help spirituality, and just trying to tie that into my work day. So I was trying to think of tips and tricks to also help with stress management during the day while in the corporate world. So I just found some things to help me out with that, and that's what that book is about. So that was my era before I was a mom, just being in the corporate world.
Metaphysical and New Thought wisdom. What is that, and how does that play into your books?
Well, what that's about is basically taking most of the lessons of a lot of different religions, a lot of different New Thought is like a positive Christianity. You take things like the Golden Rule, you take things like spirit and energy, like metaphysics, like beyond the physical, beyond what we see, and you get into the spiritual realm.
What inspired you to write all of these different facets about all of these different facets of your life? What was going on in your life at the time?
Honestly, I write it as a form of self-therapy. Like at the time, I was into New Thought, and I was into managing my own stress, because I actually have anxiety. I have a form of generalized anxiety disorder, GAD, which I was diagnosed with back in the late 90s. So I always strive to manage that the best I can without medication. And that means meditation, it means taking vitamins, it means exercise, and it means overall stress management tools such as breath work, and even counseling, talking to people. And a form of that is writing and journaling. So what was happening at the time, so that I was managing my stress just at work, I would read up on that, and I would say, I would find out different tips that would work for me, bringing that into the office. So I compiled that into a book that I could offer somebody else that would help them as well. So that's what I did with my first book.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So you're really, you're taking your own experiences and you're
Right.
saying, here's my life. I'm open book, so to speak, right? You
I'm
open
very
this
transparent.
book. Yes, very transparent. You open this book and here it is for all the world to see.
Mhm,
Let me help you. Let
mhm.
me teach you what I've gone through and what has worked for me.
Absolutely. That's
Oh,
it.
it's
Yep.
beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. You can email Dawn at newdaydawning, the number 4, the letter U, and then 2 at gmail.com. And it's on the Chiron for you who are listening to us on Facebook or watching us on Instagram later. You'll be able to get that information on social media. Also, Facebook, A New Day Dawning, and Instagram, New Day Dawning for you too. That's the number 4, the letter U, and the number 2.
And also, if they just want to do an Amazon search, I'm on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, or
Mhm.
Balboa Press is my publisher. But again, you could find all those links if you just go to Facebook and Instagram as well.
We'll be back with Dawn Staszak and an opportunity for you to win all 5 of her books. Stay where you are. WJOL is where we believe in the power of positivity and the impact of uplifting stories. And I'm absolutely thrilled to bring you a burst of joy and inspiration with our latest tale of goodness. Leslie from Aurora, you are our community spotlight shout out. Every Tuesday, she volunteers with the Illinois Animal Rescue. She helps transport companion animals, mostly dogs and cats, but sometimes rabbits, reptiles, and other small pets. They come from high kill shelters in southern and central Illinois. During the week, those kill shelters coordinate with rescue organizations through northern Illinois. The high kill shelters work frantically to get the animals out so they can reduce the number that have to be euthanized due to lack of space. So every Monday night, Leslie gets an email telling her how many animals she'll be transporting the next day and where they're going to. Then 2 large vans filled with companion animals meets her and the rest of the team in a parking lot here in Joliet. And then they load the animals into their personal vehicles and take them to the rescue organizations who place them in loving homes. Every week, she helps save the lives of dozens of animals. Leslie, thank you so much for all that you do for our warm and cold-blooded friends. We do appreciate you, and we are so proud of you. Leslie, you are a community spotlight superstar.
Time now for your Joyful Minute. Your encouragement for the day is coming up right after this.
When you download Music on a Mission, you will hear about my testimony and my battles with faith, but you will also hear stories about my time in service, my mission to put God and country back together, and of course, the music that inspires it all. If you'd like to find out more, please go to davebrayusa.com or download Music on a Mission anywhere music is sold.
Today's Joyful Minute is brought to you by Brian Hunt.
The other morning I woke up, I grabbed my phone and my watch from their chargers, and I headed out for my workout. Except about 20 minutes in, my phone started to flash a message saying it was almost dead. I was so confused. My phone had been plugged in all night. How could it almost be dead? Well, it turns out I'm a complete goof and I didn't plug it in all the way. It was kind of connected, even though it looked plugged into me. Sometimes looks can be deceiving, especially when it comes to our connection to God. We might look connected since we go to church to make our wife happy. We pray at meals out of habit. We get a verse emailed to us. But in reality, what we have is a kind of connection with God. It may look like we're connected to Him, but we aren't getting the full charge our soul needs. Jesus tells us how important this connection to Him is in John 15:5. He says, I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. We need a tight connection to God through prayer, reading our Bible, being in community, giving, using our gifts. A tight connection to God is critical to the soul charge that our lives need. So don't settle for a kind of connection with God. Get a full charge of Him so you can live your life to the full.
You've been listening to today's Joyful Minute, reminding you to keep equipping, encouraging, and empowering the world, one life and minute at a time. And now, it's time for Top That.
where you have to guess the top answer to this category.
Classic novels set in France. This week, we're playing for all 5 of Dawn Staszak's books. That's A Guru in the Office, her blog Fish Out of Water, A Guru in the Nursery, A Guru in the Kitchen, and A Guru in the Jungle. Go over to Facebook or Instagram at 1340WJOL, and you can answer the top that category there as well. Good luck. We're back with Dawn Staszak, author, guru, and all-around amazing woman. A New Day Dawning is her Facebook page. A New Day Dawning for You Too is her Instagram handle. And you can send her an email at newdaydawning4you2@gmail.com. You have the Guru in the Office. You have your blog book, Fish Out of Water. You have Guru in the Nursery, and then Guru in the Kitchen, and Guru in the Jungle, the dating jungle. And now we have an opportunity for our listeners to win all of those books when we play Top That. But first, Dawn, we are going to play a couple rounds together, a little warm up, okay?
Sounds good.
So how this works is that I just give you a category and you're going to tell me the top answer. So the game is called Top That, and you're going to give me the top answer to that category. There's lots of right answers. I just want the top one. So good luck with that, because I think you are a superhero.
Thank you.
You are. Well, you are. Your category is superheroes with capes.
Okay.
All right. So go ahead and give me your first guess.
Superman.
That is one of the answers, but not the one that I'm looking for.
Really? With a cape?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Well, then Wonder Woman.
Well, I'm going to say that's the right answer because you are Wonder Woman, but that's not the one that I was looking for. The one I was looking for is Shazam.
Really?
You know, it's on the card. I don't make them up.
Wow. Okay.
That was the top answer. And I don't know who they're asking.
They're not asking Gen X.
No, that's exactly right. Okay, the next one, or one more round, we're going to try breakfast cereals that start with the letter C.
Cheerios.
That is one of them, but not the one I'm looking for.
Okay, then Captain Crunch. It's nice. Right?
That's it.
That's it.
You won all 5 of your books. You are the first one to get the answer right on air. I've had a couple winners, obviously, online, our listeners, but you were the first guest. Yes. Dawn wins. Bragging rights. That's what you get. That's what you get. So,
all right. Pat myself on the back.
Yay! I'm really impressed. I don't even know what to say. I'm just. I mean, nobody was ever going to get these when I throwing them.
What the kids eat, so
yeah, there you go. Okay, so everybody out there, your category is classic novels set in France. Well, it's got to be book related because you're going to win 5 books from Miss Dawn Staszak. You can visit us on Facebook or Instagram at 1340WJOL, and you can answer there. Dawn, tell us about the prize.
Okay, the first one was A Guru in the Office. The second one was the blog book, which is called A Fish Out of Water. Third one is A Guru in the Nursery, because then these were the lessons I learned about being a stay-at-home mom and keeping God in the center of all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got my divorce, and then I got into cooking. I got into A Guru in the Kitchen over the pandemic. So that's where that all came from, even though I had the idea before. And I have a kind of a funny story about how I got that idea. To write that. Someone inspired me at one of the author book fairs. And she told me, you need to write a book about cooking. And I laughed and I said, well, I don't cook. At the time I really didn't, so then when and I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe she's right. I thought about it. I'm like, okay. She said, well, maybe this is something you need to look into. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I do. And I just never got back into it because then the divorce happened and then the pandemic happened that allowed me more time. So I actually had the time, even though I started the book halfway, I had the time to actually do the cooking, and I would take pictures of it, and I would, have all kinds of tips and tricks about what I would do while I was cooking. And like I said, getting into, celebrations and getting into the different aspects of your meal throughout the day and how we have like communion, with people and stuff like that. So I got into all that. And about having your own garden and growing your own food, or at least buying organic or something. You know what I mean? So that's where that all comes in. And then I just had this horrible experience. I just thought I need to really figure myself out. I figured myself out. I mean, I am a work in progress. Yeah, just telling people about like the different lessons, all the work I did. I mean, I have a whole chapter of my healing journey, like all the classes and movies and podcasts I watched and books I read and everything like that. So yeah, so that's why I want to help people.
Yes. You know what? I love that you met someone that planted a seed
Yeah,
of something that you never did. And then the pandemic hit and kind of like that seed grew, right?
it did.
Because,
It grew.
and had the pandemic not happened, maybe you wouldn't have gotten
I
it.
don't know, honestly. Yeah, but I try to make something out of it.
Right. No, absolutely. I think that God doesn't waste a hurt.
Yeah.
And, whether it is something like the pandemic or a divorce or a death in the family or something, there's always something to be learned
Yes.
in that, because we are, like you said, works in progresses and nobody is perfect. So we're always looking for progress over perfection.
The last book was about dating and about how I got into this relationship that was incredibly heartbreaking, and the real things that happened and the lessons that I've learned, that I had to really go into myself and get into my own healing, with stuff that I didn't even realize wasn't healed from my marriage and my divorce. So I got into a lot of that because I kind of strayed from being my guru. I kind of just forgot all about that. So then that experience was like a whole year and a half of really, really getting into that dark night of the soul, as they say,
Mhm.
and that was really, really difficult, but I learned a lot, and I feel finally healed, finally back into the dating world and trying to put my lessons to good use.
Dawn, tell us a little bit about how we can get in touch with you, and where we can see your work and where we can buy your books.
Well, actually, you can go on to A New Day Dawning in Facebook and Instagram. It is A New Day Dawning. It's New Day Dawning for you too, and the number 4, capital U, and the number 2. And then also you could email me at newdaydawning4you2 at gmail.com.
You know, I have always heard that everybody has a book in them. So what could you give us as some advice as aspiring writers or somebody who's interested in make having their own book published?
Like Dr. Wayne Dyer used to say, rest his soul, don't die with your music still in you. What advice I would give is get your book written, write it out.
You
So
know,
I would just say, just do it.
that's that's great advice. Tell us, Dawn, what it is you would like our listeners to, if there's one thing that they get out of this show today, what is it you want them to walk away with?
Well, like I said, all these books are autobiographical and through different stages of my life. And what I did is I put God first in the center of that. And everything I was going through, good and bad, with all my challenges, I prayed. I prayed, and I just had to have faith that God was guiding my path throughout it all. And that God gives me the wisdom and guidance, to get through it. No matter how bad it is, no matter what you're going through, even if you feel like it's going to be this way forever, you just have to have faith and just pray and know that God is there for you. And being your own guru means that you are listening to your guidance that you get from God, and maintain that special connection, and don't give up, and always have the will to be victorious. That is my motto, having the will to be victorious. I know that God is with you. God is your strength.
Dawn, that is absolutely beautiful. There is a God-sized hole in everybody's heart that only God can fit in. Dawn, tell us one more time how we can get in touch with you.
It is New Day Dawning, A New Day Dawning, on Facebook. And then on Instagram is New Day Dawning for You Too. The number 4 kept and the U and then the 2, number 2. And then email is newdaydawning4you2@gmail.com. Or you can find my books on Amazon. And I would love it if people would leave me an Amazon review if you read it. I'd love to. I have some Amazon reviews there now. Or Balboa Press is my publisher. Reality is Books is the publisher of 3 of my books. And also Barnes & Noble. And I believe Goodreads. I believe there's some on Goodreads as well.
Wonderful. Well, if you guys need a good read, for sure,
Yeah.
we have 5 of them for you with Dawn Staszak and her wonderful Guru books and blog. Dawn, thank you so much for being on the show. I do appreciate it. It's been a wonderful conversation, and you have a great and wonderful and blessed day.
Yes, you too. Namaste. God bless you. Thank you for having me on.
God
Bye-bye.
bless. Thank you. Take care. Big thank you goes out to Terry Christensen and Scott Slocum. Scott Childers. Thank you, Katie Robert and Kim Ayler, for making this show possible. And a very, very special thank you to Dawn Staszak, whose writings are about helping others and having a personal connection to God to draw upon in a variety of situations in life. Thank you, Dawn, so much for being on the show. If you can't listen while we're live, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at 1340 WJOL. Don't forget, if you're traveling outside our AM signal, you can listen to us on WJOL.com. Just click on air and then in the spotlight. And don't forget that you are loved and you are special. You belong to the WJOL family. So until next time, remember to always stay in the spotlight.
To nominate a Spotlight shout-out, a Southside business, or local organization you want to see highlighted, visit us at WJOL.com and click On Air. In the Spotlight, the show that turns the spotlight on the incredible people and stories that make our communities shine.
Spotlight.